Oh, it's great. Okay, well, Philip Costin here, back again, Silver Rudder, and the camera shot that we've got here is at the southern end of the Little Belt, Sunahay, and it looks like the fleet has actually started to move again. Well, it was until about 30 seconds ago, and the spinning has just clunked out. There's an Aphrodite there, 101, made by Bianca originally. The little yellow boat there is an International 806. And that's the boat that grounded right at the very beginning. The Banner 28 there with the black hull and bowsprit. And the large, just behind the yellow boat, the yellow 806 is the Grand Soleil 43. It's nice to see the boats are moving again. That's a relief. It's a real relief because we were, concerned to see so many boats stuck there. These guys are really battling out. The one in the front here on the left of the screen is an Omega 34. And that's an Alban Express there, just on the left here. Excuse me, left of the screen. It's nice to see the boats are giving it a shot. They're not just giving up. There's an Impala 27 there. Sebastian Basta, I believe his name is. I know he's got new sails as well, new head sail and mainsail. It's nice to see them moving. Nice to see the fleet's still on its way and haven't given up. There's an Ulva on the left of the screen you just saw there. And Hendrickson 34, the one in the background, just in front of the Impala 27. Oh, it's great to see that they're moving again. I'll just share my screen with you again. And again, bear with me for technical screw-ups from my side. I'll do my best, as usual. There we go. And I'll give you an idea of sort of where they are as well. Excuse me, I've got a toad in my throat, as they say in English. It's not actually a toad. Okay, let's have a look. I'll start from the top. Start with the minis again, because other guys are probably having the toughest time there. They've got low masts. They just can't reach up to where the wind is coming from. It sounds stupid, but it really is an important factor. And notice the fact that the way the leading boats have pretty much switched position, which is a real shame for the guys who've been battling it out throughout the night. But that's what racing's about. That's what boat racing's all about. You can see the leading boat here is just coming out of the Little Belt here. You see that? And I'll just show you. I'll zoom in a little bit there. Yeah. So the leading boat is just coming out of the Little Belt there. Yeah. With Middelfart here, town here, coming around Hintgau just here. Yeah. And there are some of the boats who are still right down there by Streep Lighthouse. And they're still chock-a-block. And if I just pick up any particular boat, the Sunfish Seascape 24, and look at some of the boats down here, they're still drifting around with just a couple of knots. That boat that I just selected was doing 2.3 knots. So there's very, very little wind. There's enough to stem the current, but that's it. But in the lead is a new guy, is VMAX and his Mini Transat 6, Fabien Bourse. And then after got Husky in the Mini 6.5, Hasso Hofmeister. He's been with us many years, doing 4.9 and 3.6 knots respectively. And you got Patrick Heinrich, who I've talked about several times during the night because he's led for hours. I just want to see who this boat is. This is Hasso Hofmeister, who decided to go through Fehnu Sound. Normally, I'd say 99.9% of the time, if you go through Fehnu Sound, you are going to fail. But you never know. This, tricky conditions like this, you just never know. It might be exactly the right tactics. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't. I'm just going to grab the phone because one of the people I'm talking about is actually on the phone. Hi, Klaus. Philip here. Hi. This is Klaus Ronmessen on the phone here. He's in 6th position in C Kaboom. Klaus, you can speak Danish if you want, but you're on live whilst we're live streaming. How you doing? I'll just put you on the speaker.
It's a bit frustrating, but everything's good.
Yeah, I can see.
Got a bit of wind now, but
yeah, I can see you. How fast are you going? Do you know that?
Right now, 2.3 knots.
Okay, I got you registered to do 1.6. Pretty tough going. It's strange because you've been in the lead for quite a lot of the time during the race, and you've been parked near Hintgau, haven't you? And I can see that Patrick Heinrich is overtaking you just slightly.
Yeah, he's ahead. He just got around the corner.
But he's very close.
Like 2 hours ago, but I think I can see him.
You'll catch them. And then a couple of other guys have taken over the lead in your race. Fabian Busse and Hasse Hofmeister in their class mini 6.5.
Yeah, they've abandoned the race. They're going.
They have. Go right. I'll just call and get them. I'll get them cancelled. Okay.
Yeah, I think the only one, as far as I can see, is the Plateau 25 and the T24.
Yeah, those guys aren't going to give up. They'll be there. They're as tough as you are.
But anything can happen tonight, I think.
Sure, it can. And
you're getting tired, and
you know what?
South of Green, that's my home waters. So.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they say? It ain't over till the fat lady sings. You did this before last year. Klaus, thanks for calling back. I called you sometime early in the night or in the morning, and I couldn't get through. I'll talk to you later, okay? Good luck with the race, Klaus.
Yeah, okay.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, mate.
Bye.
Hey, that was great to have Klaus Rønn Madsen right at the lead. So the picture you're actually seeing on the screen here isn't actually indicative of what is going on. Apparently, Fabian Busse doing 5 knots. That makes sense. And Hasse Hofmeister have given up the race. So you've only got Patrick Heinrichs and Honk Plateau 25, Harold Müller, and Thomas Brosa and Klaus Rønn Madsen. I mean, only look at the boats at the very low speeds. I'll make sure we get all the other boats taken off the screen very shortly. Oh, that's great talking to Klaus. Remember, he's sailing in a CB66. That's tiny. Nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep. Let's look at the next boat here. It's the small class, where we've pretty much got the same picture as before. You've got Morten Bukaki. I'm just going to probably have to check out whether these speeds are indicative, because I mean, got a lot of boats doing around 4, 5, 6, 7 knots. I don't believe anybody can do 7.9 knots in this wind today. So I just called to see how many boats are actually still racing, yeah? So this might not be indicative. I'll just call the race committee whilst we're here talking, and I'll get this checked out, okay? So bear with me. Hope you don't mind the fact that I'm doing this whilst I got you live, because otherwise I'm going to be giving you stories that are a load of rubbish, and you're not going to have the accurate picture. Hej Nikolaj, det er Philip her. Jeg skal lige høre en gang, jeg har der faktisk lives direkte på skærmen her. Nikolaj, jeg skal høre, hvordan ved jeg med sikkerhed, når jeg kigger på trackeren, om både er udgået eller ej? Fordi jeg sidder og laver rapportage på både, som jeg kan høre er udgået.
Det kan du kan ikke se det på skærmen der.
Nå.
Mange af dem ligger nærmest alle sammen op omkring fra udgården.
Ja, men problemet er, det er ikke sådan, trackeren udgår, den bliver fjernet. Okay, det er godt nok svært at lave live på rapportager. Okay, fint, tusind tak. Så må jeg tage de både, der sejler 6 knop, de er udgået. Fedt, tak skal du have. Okay, fint, det er godt. Hej du. Well, there you go. I've just been telling a lot of rubbish. That was Nikolai, who's at the safety group. Nikolai is actually responsible for a watch on the safety group. And the safety group are the guys that track the boat. So whilst you're out there sailing, or your husbands and wives are out there sailing, they're the guys that keep an eye. So basically, I can tell you that any boat that's doing around 6 knots is probably using his engine. So the guys still in the race are definitely Per Svanberg. He's not giving up. He's not going anywhere. He told me this morning when I talked to him that he's not going anywhere. So we'll just get him on the screen now. He's way, way ahead. This morning, he was literally 10 miles ahead. There you go. There's Per Svanberg doing 2.1 knots. On the boat next to him, however, let's see if I can just pick him up on the screen. The blue one here, which is way back here, doing 5.7 knots. He will have left the race. He's not racing anymore. So please remember when you're looking at trackers at home that a lot of the boats have stopped. You can see some of the boats have actually gone to anchor or into the port somewhere. So don't necessarily think that they are still in the race. Okay. So in this particular race, you've definitely got Per Svanberg, and you've got Mathilde in his J33, Knox in his Dirk Feldhusen in his X99, and that's what the picture looks like. Yeah, Black Caravella is definitely still racing. He didn't come away from Poland to give up. I know that Thomas is going to do everything he possibly can to get as close to jumping for Per Svanberg at the heels as possible. Let's go to the next category, which is the large boats. And again, the bigger the boats, the more difficult it is to ascertain whether or not they're still racing. But I think it's quite easy to say that Catch-Up IMX38 is still racing, but Knab Horn is not racing, because you can see the huge speed difference. And the X362 here, 5.9 knots, is definitely not racing. It's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a weakness in this system. You can't see where the boats are still racing. I remember one year, this might be interesting for you. I remember one year where I was racing a guy called Anas in his Banner 30 called Delice. And I'd raced against him for 3 or 4 years during the Silver Rudder, and he was definitely a serious competitor for me. I always wanted to beat Søren Juhl and Explorer and Anders Hansen in his Banner 30. I remember one year where it'd be very foggy. I think it was probably in 2015, very foggy around the north of Fyn. And Anders was about 2 miles ahead of me. And I called my wife and said, would you have a look at the tracker? I want to know how I'm doing compared to Anders and Søren. And very, very light winds. And she said, well, Anders is doing 5.5 knots. He must have set his Jenica. He's doing 5.5 knots heading towards Kerteminde, probably trying to pick up some coastal wind. So I set my code 0 and sailed as fast as I possibly could, only about 3.5 knots towards the coast, assuming there was wind there. And then half an hour later, 40 minutes later, she called me and said, sorry, he started his engine. He's just parked his boat in Kerteminde. He had aborted the race. So you've got to be very careful following your competitors on the tracker. If they change direction looking for wind, they're probably looking for a cup of coffee and some diesel before they give up the race. So let's move on to the next category, which will be the extra large. I know a lot of the extra large boats have unfortunately left the race. I've been told by the race committee that until so far about 120 boats have left the race. And looking at this list, I think the only boats racing are Morpion, the X442 Axel Grave, and Volo Grand Soleil 43 Søren Jørgensen, and then of course Min Jente Grand Soleil with Klaus Gilbert in it, doing 0.3 knots very, very slowly. Let's just look at these boats. The boats are still contending. They're going to be way. That's the these are the boats right at the back here. The slow coaches. There you are in the middle. They're still in the middle of the Little Belt. Oh, that's pretty gutting. That's tough going. Yeah. So let's just look at another category of boats. The small multi-hulls. And as you can see here, it looks like they're all still racing, except maybe the one at the bottom. Yeah. So, yeah. So there you go. Yeah. You've got the Dragonfly 800 still in the lead, doing 2.1 knots. Let's just see if we can find him. He's well ahead of the other boats. Somebody called me a minute ago on the phone and said, hey, why is that guy so far ahead? I'm wondering whether or not he's stopped. No, he's not. If he's doing 2.1 knots, he's not. But he's at Helleness. When I looked half an hour ago, he was about there as well. Maybe his tracker is not working. We'll give him a call. And then you've got the Farrier F22, which is way back there, right back here, look, in the second place here. Look. So he's still just come out of the Little Belt. So in fact, he's still 20 miles in front, and he's going to move very close to Helleness. Yeah. And then you've got Shaka, the Corsair 760 after that. Let's move on to the final category of the race. And that's the large multi-hulls. And looking at this, Black Marlin is still way ahead, 9.1 miles in front of the next boat, but only doing 2 knots. I mean, he's got to have a lot of patience. There you go. He's just passing Horne-Næs, and then after that he'll come through here north of Lure. I thought actually he'd already passed here earlier, but he'll come north of Lure and then through the south and Funen archipelago, as one says in English, the islands, the Inselmeer, I think it's called in German. But I promised a lot of the participants on the Silver Rudder never to talk German again, because my German is so bad and your English is much better. So you've got the Black Marlin coming along here, very slow, 2.3 knots, going as fast as he can, or close to Horne-Næs. I don't think he's, and the picture looks as if he's aground, but he wouldn't go aground. And he's very much in home waters as well. Yeah, it's a tough guy. He knows exactly where he is and how to get the most possible wind. Yeah, but after that, you've got Kikima and the Farrier 31 doing 1.6 knots, quite a way behind. And now you've got boats doing 4.3, 4.4 knots. I'm not sure if they've started their engines. I'll just try and find them on the screen. It's quite likely that, if they're doing twice the speed of Black Marlin, it could well be the start of their engines. But we'll see. Yeah. Okay, like I said, unfortunately, 120 boats have already left the race, and I'm looking at the wind conditions. It could well be that there'll be more doing just that. I just go back to our picture here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just clear my share screen here like that and see if we've got a drone out there still. We have not. We've just got a picture of me, which isn't any very inspiring scene. The drone is down, it says. So I'm going to say, I'm going to switch off for a minute, take a break. Thanks for listening in. I hope you got a bit of an information of what's going on in the race at the moment. Talk to you later.